Hello.
Hi,
How you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. How's your week been so far?
So
Since we
far,
on
so
hump day.
yeah, feeling good midweek. And I just got my hair done today, so
Oh my
extra.
God. So you looking all sexy and stuff.
Mm, well, actually, I
Yeah.
probably have a little bit of dye still on my, forehead, but
Oh, okay.
the
Okay.
that, yeah,
Okay.
getting it put together nice, doing the maintenance.
Oh yes, because from the pictures I can see you very put together nice. I must
Well,
add. so so you only been in the business when we talked, you said for 2 years. Um
right. Well, almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years.
I'm past my first year. I'm in my second year.
Mm. Well, I must admit, you from looking at your page, looking at your work, like it's kind of like when they say to a short person, you thought you might be taller, so you must cast a big shadow. You move like a 10-year vet. You shoot like a 10-year vet. Only been in the business 2 years. Seriously.
You. Thank you very much. That is a high praise and high compliment. I really appreciate that. Um, I just try to keep each each shoot, each experience, all of it just very in the moment and organic and authentic, and I feel like that translates.
Yes, it very much does because, like I said, with your pictures, you know how to pose, you know how to angle yourself. It's like you're a natural in many ways.
Thank
Honestly, even your still pic is hot magazine worthy. Even with your sex faces, 'cause I love your sex faces.
Oh, well, thank you. I do. My expressiveness has gotten me a lot of recognition. I get directors that have given me a lot of compliments on that.
And it was like, God, you just have such a sexy face. Jeez.
Thank you, Bobby.
I said I can imagine him saying that to you, but no, but really, it's like me being in the business. I've been in the business 15 years. Yeah, you got the it factor. So
That
and
that's amazing. That's an intangible. So I'll just have to thank my lucky sevens for that.
most definitely. So look, let me do my particulars so we can get into this interview and dig deep, shall
Okay,
we?
sure.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the Smokers Lounge here on Anchor, the perfect for anyone who's trying to start their own podcasting network or career. Let me tell you what you gotta do. All you gotta do is go to anchor.fm on your laptop or iPad or tablet and start podcasting. Or if you're on your phone, download it on your phone. You can start podcasting today. You can monetize your episodes and be distributed, and all this for free. So go to anchor.fm and get a profile. Download the app and get a profile. Start podcasting like myself. Speaking about myself, I am Kavanaugh, the Southern Champ, aka the porn rap star. Y'all know what it is. Find my porn, find my music, find my social media, all in one link. I'm talking about all my links.com/porn rap star. Find me, my many links with one, many places with one spot. That's all you got to do. We also sponsored by the LS, the Facebook of the LS community. I'm talking about lsworld.com. Go there today, get yourself a profile, mingle with kink-minded people like yourself, and even find events you might could attend. Also, we're part of the GW District Black Podcast Network. I'm talking about multiple podcasts giving you the black experience. Also, while you're there, you can get some shopping done buy from over 500 different black retailers. So go to shopgwdistrict.com. Support black businesses, build the black economy so we can create generational wealth. Now, I'm about to be quiet and let this future legend introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Violet Black. I am from Baltimore, but actually moving really, really soon. So I'll be based out of LA coming up, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah, so what made you decide to move to LA?
A few different things. some of it just change of scenery, change of pace. There's been some personal changes. So anytime that's the case, it's always good for me to reset by getting a new environment. But more importantly, just being in that area, maybe for where I work with and who I work with right now, LA wouldn't exactly be the exact target spot. I probably do a lot more in Las Vegas currently, but the proximity is going to be really great. I have a lot of like my own personal connections there too. So like who I'll be, I'm not going to be out there alone. So I'll have somebody to help kind of keep me grounded, which has always been really great, you know, for me going through the whole journey because it started a lot later.
Oh yeah. Which, speaking of that, you did get a late start adult. Coming in late, was you worried that you might have aged out or you were too old? Because I always hear that sometimes with people.
Well, I mean, as a start, no, because I had to believe that it was something with an interest kind of entering into it. So being kind of a fan myself the whole time, coming up and through adulthood, just sort of seeing how trends are moving. I was like, I feel like even for like my body type, felt more confident that that there'd be, you know, a good reception for me, a good market for me, that I didn't necessarily want to get any kind of fame from it, but I want to be good at what I'm doing. And so, and I want to do good work. And performing actually is something that is not new to me at all. I went to a musical theater conservatory out of high school, actually. So like doing performance and being on stage and all of that was something that was very natural to me. And I've always been interested in this. It was honestly, I think just time and my own growing and kind of a societal shift that's made me think this is something I can do. So I didn't really think I was going to be too old going into it. That was definitely something, honestly, I think I might have been afraid of if I was a little younger than I am right now, in kind of a little bit of that middle area where it's I mean, sometimes it seems like, especially in our industry, they don't seem to know what to call a woman if it's not a MILF or a teen. So so I mean, obviously I'm not passing for teen for a day, but being kind of in that in between of like, oh, you look like an adult somewhere in there. I think I might have been a little more worried about that, because at least with having like the appeal of the MILF category and the increased popularity, I was at least thinking that I could, you know, do all right at this, and the success so far has honestly been it's been probably a little more than I imagined.
I'm watching like one of your trailers where there's an anal scene, and your face, your mannerism is hot. It's like some people can make a scene with the little things so exciting without even realizing it. Like when you get hit from the back, you licked your arm, then look back to him with the tongue, and that shit was just hot. So I see that you're a lady that understands how to work the camera, and speak to that.
To working the camera?
Yeah.
That I especially when it's in and with the camera, that I is more like, as mentally, it's almost as if for a moment I'm thinking this is a live show. I'm imagining not necessarily a big audience, but that there is an audience, that there's a viewer, that I've, broken that fantasy wall, and I can see you seeing me doing this, and that kind of like excitement and joy, and it's just sexy. So that carrying across that message and then trying to kind of convey that, like have that conversation, and it's almost like looking through the lens as if you're looking into, the eyes of somebody else. And just imagine that.
Yeah, because I'm gonna tell you what's funny. It's funny that I'm about to give you this comparison. You remind me of Jenna Jameson. Jenna Jameson, when you watched her,
I'm sorry.
She looked like she was having this purity, bliss, and fun. And it's like when I look at your videos, I see that with you. You feel what I'm saying? It looks like you enjoy yourself. It's fun. You smiling. It's like it's a sensualness mixed with intensity, mixed with sexuality, mixed with a little bit of funniness. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like it's like you with you, your scenes tell a story and it exudes your personality. Period. How much do you make it a point to enjoy the moment when you're on set, when you're shooting?
Absolutely. That's basically the biggest goal to me, because I think that's a huge part of the appeal of what that story is. That's what I'm looking for when I watch something, and if I see a moment that looks so intense or so hot that, like, sometimes it'll be I'll end up spotting a couple that way, not knowing they're a couple, and being like, that was just intense, that was amazing, that looks so real and raw, and then come to find out that it's because they're amazing performers and had a great scene, but also they really truly share a connection like that. It's, I think that's a lot of what it's looking for. So I try to bring that to every time. Some of it's going to be more comical than others. There was one scene that I was like a leprechaun, so I tried to keep an Irish accent, like seriously the whole scene. And that's always ridiculous. So you're still, having fun doing that, but still, at the same time I was still fucking, and I wanted all of that to be hot too. And so convey that same, that additional energy, I guess, to it.
Most definitely. So let's go back. What got you into business?
Ooh, what got me into it, like made me want to start ever?
That, and how did you get in it?
Okay. So making me want to start was, like I said, I was already kind of a fan coming up, but it was from probably just my own personality and the environment of people I was in. I just didn't say anything about it. I just kept that to myself. Or if somebody would make jokes, they'd make jokes when I was in high school, saying that I was going to go off and be an actress, and they're like, "You're going to go do porn," and I just laugh it off. But I'm laughing it off with like an idea in my head, like, me, I feel like I could get away with it. And then feeling like I could get away with it as far as actually starting, there was when I really like entertained the idea seriously, not as a joke, but like, all right, if you thought you could do this, how would you start? How do you begin? And I started Googling. I started looking up more about the sites that I liked. I started checking into like if they had an area to contact them, or if they started like advertising for looking for talent or talking about talent. Then I started, instead of following just performers more, I would look at the websites or the production companies, and kind of try to get an idea of what they were doing. And then from there, I learned more about following agencies. From there, I learned more about the independent vein. And then when I learned more about the independent and how that was taking off, and this was all in October of 2019. This is when I started. So, first shoot was in January of 2020. But October, if you look at my Pornhub page, it's still my most amateur. That's the very first shit I ever put out there. And that was, it's not even in the porn stars area. It's still in the amateurs area. Because I need to go back and monetize that and be a better business person. But I know that also now is, anyway, I'm getting off topic.
Are you good?
Yeah, finding what I was looking for, like I said, those searches, but then stumbled across the website Sexy Jobs. And then that was kind of where I started really seeing how you could get a foot in and start in exploring, like actually finding work and setting up sites I knew from Pornhub that I looked up, but then I didn't know about before because I didn't do a lot of, like, I didn't cam or check out camming, so I didn't know about OnlyFans until I was Googling all of that. Or I didn't know very much about it. I'd see it like mentioned on some of the Twitter I'd see, but I didn't personally even have a Twitter until I had a porn Twitter. I just kind of check in and out. But so social media was something I had to get a lot better at.
Okay, I feel you. Yeah, I'm still learning it too myself. Don't get twisted.
Yeah,
it's a learning process.
I would have. I'm too visceral. I'm too much going through it that I was like, oh yeah, I needed to record this too. Like I'm just too busy experiencing what's going on. Not to say that that's any better or worse. I just because then when it's all over, I was like, that was amazing, and I don't have any pictures, anything. It was just my memory. So yeah, getting better at that's definitely good. And also now that I get to, make a living by being me and having fun and going out and having sex and shit, and it's just awesome. But yeah, finding that site, finding out how we could set up and connect with other like professionals, people that are trying to hire, because I was also really, worried about all the horror stories that I always heard about, which I mean was almost, it wouldn't even be specific. It's almost like urban legend, you know what I mean? People just make it seem like this big, dark, scary place that you would you'd have either a really difficult time being in, or that a lot of people are gonna, try to test you, take advantage of you, whatever that is. So, your guard's up really high. Or at least mine was, because I'm already in my late 30s, and while I've entertained the idea, I've never actually gone into the industry. I don't know other people who are in like that aspect of the industry. I know like dancers and things like that, but nobody that's actually like in adult film. So the starting out was some having there's luck is always going to be a little bit of it. The right person saying at the right time that thinks that you're like, you got something. But I mostly just tried to use what I knew of how I wanted to do business, because this I've decided now that this wasn't just like a cool fantasy that I'm thinking, but like I want to turn this into my job, and not just make it my job that is getting me by like managing restaurants was, but like something that can launch me into living life however I want to, just completely on my terms. And if for a job getting to have sex with porn stars is how I do that, that sounds very, very best thing to me. like the very best
Yeah,
fucking idea.
yeah, you get to make money and get fucked real good.
Yeah, exactly. Have some, and especially now with some of the independent stuff too, you have, it's not like, I feel like I'm hearing, or it might just be some of when I see articles and you remember the stuff that just annoys you. But I feel like a lot of people are glossing over how much representation there is in different styles of porn that's out there, and acting like everything, like you know, I'll read a quote where they say like basically everything's hate fucking, and you're like, but no, it's not, because that's almost nothing on. I mean, if it's if it might be passionate, it might be really hard, but there's no hate there.
Because the one thing, which is a nice segue, you make it a point, it's sensual. Y'all make love on camera, you know, period. And that's kind of the old school way. How much did the old school influence how you do your porn now?
I would say pretty good, because it would be snippets that I would dip into, dip out of. So there was like my own coming of age story that was organically my own, and not, I like I said, I knew that my interests were something that was probably a little more scandalous than everybody would have been cool with. So I just kept my mouth shut and, you know, looked things up when I thought I could get away with it, and behind closed doors or whatever. So, so when you compared me to Gemina Jameson, that's why I was like, what the, she's royalty. So
yeah, because to me, when I look at your videos, it gives me that old school feel. You feel me? It takes me back to that era. You know me? And to me, what's missing in porn is the sensualness, the love of it. You don't really see people kiss hardly anymore.
Right. Yeah. A lot of times. And I mean, sometimes that's a boundary. I understand. But having that as part of the story you're telling, and imagining that there's interest in people seeing that. When I know, I mean, obviously, if I have an audience, there has to be. Yeah. And that's what I want to see. And I was a consumer before I was ever. I have a hard time actually not fangirling out. In front of a lot of the people that I've been able to meet, because, you know, I was maybe not actively in it that knew so much about it, but enough that I recognized probably a lot of the mainstream stars for good amounts of eras. So if I was like, oh shit, that's real major, I know that from across the room or anywhere. And so the fact that we actually, you know, got to work together one day was a lot of keep your chill, don't act stupid.
Yeah, most definitely. So I see you with many of the top male talents in the business.
I have been very fortunate to do some content with them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Now, with that being said, because you do content trade, you do paid gigs. Now, we're not going to talk about paid gigs. We're going to say that for a second. When it comes to content trade, what do a guy has to bring to you? And I'm talking about from the email to the scene itself. What credentials, what cachet he has to have to say, yes, I will work with you to do content trade. Because you shoot at a high level, and you're at a high level. So with you, your, let's say, criteria for that is going to be different depending from a girl that's just a normal, let's say, OnlyFans girl. You get what I'm coming from?
Right. Honestly, if there's there's a male talent out there I feel like could teach a class on it, and I would love to see it. Will Tile, who I've worked with before, but
I saw that.
It is a it definitely starts on approach. That if it's somebody that is coming to you, doesn't know you or hasn't met you, and is wanting to work with you, for me, the thing that makes it seem like what you're getting past the first gate is that you actually take it like work. That's it. Like, I don't, it's approaching professionally, and it doesn't have to be like language. It's not going to be like if you used some text speak or something when you were talking to me, I'm like, oh, fuck that guy. Like, that's not the deal. But if you're coming at me acting like you kind of don't even care if there's going to be a camera in the room, then that's, first huge red flags. Where I'm like, are we coming at this for the right thing? So starting out professionally, and with the conversation feeling as if you're, two equals looking to collaborate to make something mutually beneficial, and also something that's, more fun for us. So it's not, also not totally sterile, like it's like the thing where it's going to seem almost weird when you start like being like, all right, now we're about to have sex. Because there's got to obviously be some chemistry and some rapport, but starting out with reaching out in that way, how you find somebody after that, if you're acting like you're wanting to work with them, doing at least just the first step of research, like look at if for example, if you read my Twitter page, and you just go to the profile, it'll say right in my bio exactly how to reach out if you're trying to collab or anything like that. So if the first thing you're doing is not showing that you're not either paying attention or caring about how they're saying the organization to reach out. So if they're saying like, email me here, or I use this site, and then they keep, switching back to a different method of contact that's less, like for me, less reliable is my Twitter DM if I am meeting somebody who I might not immediately know. Like if I'm not already aware of your platform and you're getting in touch with me and we may or may not already follow each other, and it's not, a production house I'm trying to hopefully book a paid shoot from, that DM is going to easily get missed. But if it's keeping it in the right area, so like showing that you're paying attention, doing the little amount of research, and I think that's a two-way street. I try to do the same thing, and then and then being open about communication to where it is not seeming like somebody's trying to steer a situation, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you saying.
So if you seem hesitant about something, that they're pushing toward that, or like just being I guess really, open with communication. But if you're starting at the jump of trying to get in contact with somebody instead of whether or not you're shooting, show what you got, show that you have a platform and not that you just want to shoot with them. A lot of people,
that important.
Like,
now I want
that makes me famous.
Now, interesting. You said that they should have a platform, because I always believe that before you step to somebody, you at least your ducks in a row. Explain to people why it's important that if they step to you or step to any female in your level, that they need to have a platform to start from jump.
For sure. Well, some of it is it shows respect to the other artists that you're working with, to show up with literally nothing, like not even something that you're promoting it on. You just want to participate and be in theirs, unless they're trying to cast somebody and they reached out for that. That's you've just inserted yourself there. That is, it shows that you take the industry seriously and that there is some business sense to working with you. And that's the thing, is that, again, since we decided to make performance and sexuality our business, that business does, have to make sense. And and especially when we're working on these independent veins where it's not, it might be a little bit different story. If I have nothing against, and no, if somebody just wants to model and that's it, they don't have interest in having ownership of their stuff. They want to show up, have a good time, do their job, and get paid and go home. Amazing, all the power to you. But if you're going to be in the vein of somebody that is taking on that, which of course would be somebody approaching you for content, it's like showing from the very beginning that you don't take the other person very seriously in what you're trying to do, and that you don't and again, this doesn't need to be that you've got already, over even 10,000 followers on Twitter and a bunch of sales on your sites, just showing that you've actually begun, you're actually working, you're actually, there's some place that this is going to be sold and promoted on how I will be doing it. And I think a lot of performers are dealing with, are sorting through people kind of using sex work as a catch-all. So it's almost like they're trying to be like, no, we're trying to do the thing that makes it say that it's okay for me to pay you for sex. Instead of being like, we're trying to create this content that had like, it's two totally different purposes, but basically it's, so it was somebody, one of the first producers I shot with, who I actually met him through Sexy Jobs, and he gave me a good warning to think about for Sexy Jobs, because while that was a good place for me to find people, it's also very, very easy to for predatory people to be on there and then try to book people. I've had a lot of fake inquiries, and you get people trying to get around the fact that the type of sex work they're looking for isn't legal where they're at. So I can use they'll use all kind of euphemisms. I'll use all kind of euphemisms to be like, I don't do bookings, I don't do fan fucks, if I work with other people that are in this industry, and I am again wanting, if somebody's going to try to present themselves that way, it can't try to be an elaborate facade. And I mean, a lot of people that it kind of that really kind of is what they're looking for. And again, it's just I'm not trying to knock it. That I had an old roommate that would say all the time, a dog's got to eat. But you're like, I get what you're asking for, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's not what we do here, and that's not what I do here. And you asking that over and over again is tiresome and shows a lack of respect.
I'm gonna ask you this. Because of what you're saying. I always said the fact that they lump sex workers under the one term sex worker hurt the business and allow a lot of misconceptions. Yeah. And it's a point of why people differentiated the different trades. What do you think of that?
I think it's correct as far as that idea. But I understand I understand the sense for unity, and that I am of a mindset that decrim is totally what has to happen. It doesn't even make sense that it should be a criminal act for two consenting adults to it doesn't make sense outside of you're trying to like put your religion or your values, but it shouldn't be against the law. That shouldn't be a crime. It's crazy.
But see, that's because of moral and religious stuff.
Right, exactly. And I mean, it's one thing to understand the origins. It's another thing to keep using that as the structure of society. That's not okay. Yeah. And it perpetuates a lot of harm to a lot of people. But specifically in what we do, where it's performers working with other performers, I mean, that's the difference between like, are you going on a dating app and meeting somebody, anybody, general sex work, or not general sex work, but I'm meaning like a full service sex work or something. And then are you an adult performer? Adult performers is like thinking you can go on a dating app and meet somebody on a TV show and then be in the TV show. Like you can grow up and join the Brady Bunch or something. But
Yeah.
so you're right, equating the two things. One is a fantasy, a performance with two performers acting together versus somebody, there's not, we, the people having sex, aren't the consumers.
Yeah, because see,
they're buying
the thing,
visual.
because the thing I think people misinterpret is that you do have porn stars that do escort, but it's within the annals of them being a porn star that they are pursuing being a porn star. It's just one of the services that they offer is a meet and greet with their fans,
right?
Versus with prostitution or escort, that is your main function. You're not trying to be a porn star. You're not worried about a site. You're not, you know what I'm saying? It has to be a differentiation, because what ends up happening is, that's the reason why you got so many girls sit there saying no meetups on their on their profile, because you are OnlyFans, and yeah, most definitely. Now let's talk about the unsexy stuff for a second.
Yeah,
because you're a businesswoman.
I try
you
to
run sites. You run sites and everything. You pay attention to numbers. Let's talk about what no one wants to talk about: the ups and downs, money-wise, of this business. 1 month you're hot, 1 month you're cold. I don't give a damn if you big or you small. You experience that. The question I ask you is, one, how mentally taxing is it on you at times with that? And two, what's the thing that you do when it's slow to pick up business?
All right. Well, to be fair to my take on things, my entry into it had a lot of like outside circumstances coming up, like weird things happening at the same time. So anybody going through it was like, all right, well, I've also never, like,
the pandemic, ladies and gentlemen, the pandemic, aka the transition. Go ahead.
Yeah, aka the transition. Exactly. It's funny. I keep alluding to it. But let's see, for the slower months, that's things definitely ebb and flow. For me, I've seen mostly a gradual build, but it's been a slow build because it's felt like a whole hurry up and wait. Some of it, a little bit, is that I'm not right in an area where it's really convenient to connect with and work with people as easily. But a lot of times that doesn't mean that, there can't be plenty of it and to be marketed well. So seeing things, increase, decrease, your 2-week ManyVid sale half of what it was the 2 weeks before, and trying to continue to push forward. For me personally, I've benefited from some outside support as well. So that I'll just be open with. I had I wasn't in a situation where I needed to make sure that my income was covering my living expenses. And if that was the case, it makes people make different decisions. It makes people make different moves, or maybe move a little bit different way. So I feel like I got to be a little more calculated with some of the stuff because I wasn't worried about having that immediate. And so I wouldn't be able to really speak on that. What I know about the up and the down, a lot of what's helped me is being able to try to tune in with my fan base whenever that seems to be the case. getting into what is what's being is there something that's being requested that I haven't really been able to fulfill. If there's been just the developing the consistency and that kind of feeling of connection when it came to my sites that you're talking about. So like my OnlyFans,
Yeah.
and then people that I would connect with through like ManyVids, and even on, I mean, Twitter's free, but I'm on it all the time, so a lot of my fans interact with me on there too. But seeing the actual, for me, increase in sales is always upticking along with that, as well as soon as I have new material to release. So like I said, my hurry up and wait has been a really big element for me. But I'll be looking forward to really getting into the you know, it's some of the first things I was ever told, and it speaks to it perfectly, where they'd say content is king. And like I said, every time I'd have a big amount of release, that's when my big bumps are coming up, because content is king. Having new things coming out, having if you can have involved things, like if you start getting people invested in a storyline, and so you have that, like a series, or you know, just your fans that are like, you know, these are the ones that you know, you make sure to highlight your feet. A lot of guys love my classic heels look. That kind of it, just
yes,
sure
I do.
there is enough of all of that, and so honestly, being able to work and gather it is that. So, so yes, developing content for me, checking the pulse of what the fans is. If I had a dream setup where it was more, I was at a point where I was able to be doing more work, filming more of my own stuff, and having one of the most important things to me going forward would be then the idea of making sure that I was managing and continuing to keep and like a finger on that pulse. So if if you're so busy, you're shooting all the time, you can't, I don't suddenly want to have everything fall off because I don't have all the time to pay attention to it. So then I'll just have to, hire somebody.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because what people don't realize, the work.
Yes.
And we're not talking about just on camera, because yes, I'm going to bring you back to my Patreon so we can do a Porn Tales, life in front of the camera. We talk about our shoots, good, bad, and ugly. But people don't realize, not just talking about the easy part is filming the scene, even though it has its difficulties. Right. The hard part is getting it sold. How much put into your promotion?
It's hard to divide up when you start thinking of how much time. Because it's a little bit of time all the time. You know what I mean? Like at any given time, it's something that can take time in what I'm doing. Thankfully, some of the fans that I have are. Oh, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me? Are we at a clear?
Hey, yo. Start this. I'm gonna put you back in. You break it up. I'm gonna restart. All right. And we back for that brief break. Woo! Yeah. So now, but like I was saying, to me, people don't realize. Like I said, even when I'm at my 9 to 5, I'm tweeting. It's people around when you're a business owner, because when you do this, you become an automatic business owner.
Right,
you
exactly.
practically run a corporation. It never sleeps.
Exactly. Yeah, it is. And part of it, especially in the situation where I'm booking myself for other people and then trying to manage collabs too, so we can get my own sites going. The yeah, juggling the combination of the two is definitely the time consuming. It's the kind of thing that, like I said, it's kind of a little bit of time all the time. So I'll feel like I'm never at work unless I'm literally on set or I'm in the middle of, doing an edit or making, something very obvious, like dedicated chunk of time. But so much of the work, and some of what I was getting at too, with how the fans have been really beneficial. They love to tweet at me like different GIFs or pictures, and so I'll resend that out for promo. And it's just they'll circle it to me, I'll circle it back out. And that's each connection like that is another free promo tag to everybody in their audience, and it's been that mentality and that growth system that's led up to this point. And without having a really big, I guess, launch off or break, I think probably when I started shooting with Private Society was when things started to get to another level for me, because that was such a big audience that I hadn't really seen before. But I mean, like I said, prior to that, it's constantly checking your numbers, and then trying to find ways that are effective to address that, aside from just worrying about it. Like I can't keep shouting the same thing at people over and over again. They're gonna want to block me out. So I need to create something that is investment and intrigue. And that's why I try to be pretty organic and bring it, and sometimes I'll get a little political with it, but come on, it's been a crazy couple of years.
Yeah.
That's just human rights. If it's going to be about sex worker rights, if it's about racial equality and equity, I got something to say. But it's not necessarily that I'm going to try to want that to be what I'm doing and what I'm saying, but it won't be missing. Just like my actual thoughts and parts of my real life won't be missing, and all the time it will also be random horny sexy tweeting and promoting the stuff I've sold or been selling. I want it to be the mixture of the online representation being nothing's completely one-dimensional. Nobody's a sex robot unless you're not a person and a sex robot. But so having those kind of elements, I feel like is important. That's how I want to represent it. I do try to be thoughtful in how I do and don't represent myself. And because there's especially some things that will toe the line of suggestion, where I'm not telling you that that's the story, but some people are filling in the blanks just fine with what they would like the narrative to be, and if that's their fantasy, I'm not arguing with them. And that'll for example, like a Queen of Spades sort of thing. And that's not accurate. Even if you scroll down my page long enough, you'll be like, oh, okay, that's not the case. But I'm not about to start arguing with somebody about their feelings, fetishes, or what they do and don't. Is that what you like about me? Fucking great. I love that. I'm
happy.
Yeah. But to be fair, not all money is good money. And there are some things that people will already try to use I don't want to say argument, but it's like they're their reasoning is that what we do is fantasy. Everything is a performance, just like in any kind of movie. And in all kinds of movies, there's even bad guys, and great actors play bad guys. They're not actually bad guys, kind of like how certain things can exist in the porn fantasy elements that are something that, you know, you won't ever see me doing. And so they'll try to use those arguments to get me to, you know, agree to try to work with certain sites, and it's just not for me. At that point, it becomes a personal boundary, and that's the part where, like, but I, as a person, have to look and see that that's what I'm responsible for putting out there. That didn't exist in the world. I just told that story before that. And it's not like me not doing it is going to make it not exist, but a lot more people may have that mentality, and it's okay to have safe spaces for, you know, other people to explore that. I'm not trying to use this to kink shame or get on a soapbox, but there's some things that you'll never see me doing. Might not even, like, you won't see me on a site if they do something I heavily I would never do, even if that's not the scene they want me to shoot for them, because it's a different, if that category is something that is going to be on the site at large, just like I am. And, you know, we're working in an independent vein. I'm not somebody who has an agency and just wants to go shoot and make model things. I want to make sure that the narrative I'm telling is something that I'm always all right with telling that story, even in how that happened. Like, I know you can't start really getting to, like, picking things apart in PC when you're talking about porn or something, because part of, you know, part of the storyline, or a lot of things are, again, part of the storyline, and some's just deciding whether or not you can be in that experience, and might have my own personal experience. But I'm like, you know what, I don't want to touch that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, just no thank you. And others are going to be, you'll just never hear me say that or portray that. And for reclamation or empowerment, or whatever it is, isn't my story to tell, my place to be. So that's my long avoidant way of saying, you'll never see me do race
play. Which is interesting, race play. And I got judged on it. You know, I had a girl actually turn me down for a shoot because she said, you did race play. I can't imagine someone. And to me, I never knock anybody for any scene they do, because I can knock the fact that she said, well, she knocked me for race play, but you're sitting there doing scenes where these black guys are calling you every type name in the book in humiliation, but you judge me for my race play. You feel what I'm saying? And to me, it's all about your comfortability, staying in your lane and knowing your boundaries and knowing. Because to me, when it comes to race play, when it comes to any of that, even if a girl, let's say, do age play, I always underneath the realms of acting, but just like you, there's certain things I ain't gonna do.
Right.
I don't feel comfortable in doing. Not even a custom video. That dude can pay me $1 million for that son bitch. If I ain't comfortable with it, he can keep that money, because all good money ain't all money ain't good money. So with that being said, one of the things I'm going to talk to you about, because you do pay gigs, and I'm going to ask you a question that no girl really ever really gives me a great answer. Now, you thought about your brand, am I correct?
I do.
Very particular about your brand.
Yep.
How particular and how can I put this, deep of screening did you do with paid gigs? Meaning, what's a good, what's a bad one?
What's a good one?
Good one or a
I
bad
don't
one?
think I'm understanding your question really, actually.
Oh, okay. Then, like for example, the same way that you look at who you're going to shoot with for your content trade, do you use that same philosophy when you get hit up for paid gigs? Like you might have a company hit you for a paid gig, but that company's not a good company, and it's not going to help you grow, exposure. You get what I'm coming from? How do you pick and choose your paid gigs that you do?
By researching the site. It's basically, honestly, it's an easier version of trying to vet the performer. Because as a company is for sure going to have all their site up there, so you'll see what they do and don't promote. When I have a hard line like something like race play, if they have a section and I can find it and I know about it, then you won't. That's easy. That you'll know that you won't also see me on there. But if it is if it's a situation like up and coming amateur studio type thing, and it's trying to be like you were saying, is this going to benefit the brand, not benefit the brand? I take a look at literally what their stuff looks like that they shoot, and try to see if I think the two of us could work out well together in a way that will be in that vein or elevated. And I mean, I'm I mean, we're talking about porn. I am not heavily fetish. I am not heavily kinked at all. I'm almost like French vanilla, like just barely.
Yeah. No, but to me, you're a pure porn star. Because porn star back in the day, they didn't do fetish. It was boy girl role play scenes. They fucked. Even if a toy was involved, it was she started off with the toy and the guy walked in. You feel me? So it's go ahead. What you about to say?
No, I was just affirming what you were saying.
Okay, yeah. So to me, you're a pure porn star. And to me, I think that makes you stand out more because of that fact. You feel me? And I say that because you give them the straight fuck scene, you give them the POVs, you give them the actual professional role play scenes. You're actually presenting a fantasy, the thing that porn was built off of, and we done lost in this new age.
Well, I think it kind of ties back to what you were saying before, is that I'm also someone who came into it as a fan, and came into it as like so much of it was a deliberate decision that took me a while to get there. But with that being my approach, I'm also kind of, if I was going to be so deliberate in my doing it at all, it's also the same deliberation in how I do it. And that is, again, unlocked to anybody, anybody who doesn't have either the luxury of being so particular, or because that's a thing, or sometimes things just don't play out the way you think they're going to. Sometimes you are hoping somebody's reputation is going to be enough to speak for a different kind of situation, and you end up in a place, out of places you don't want to be, but being able to, I'm losing my train of thought here. Help.
Well, shoot, well, I put it this way. We have a lot that we didn't touch on. That's why you got to come back.
I would love to come back.
You as a regular smoke buddy, because I know we would have some great conversations.
I think so, Bobby.
Most definitely. So tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me on my OnlyFans at onlyfans.com/Violette Blakk. Violette Blakk is VIOLETTE Black is 2 Ks, no C. It's usually the problem anybody ever has in finding me is how to spell my name.
Oh yeah.
So you can find me at Violette Blakk on OnlyFans. You will find me on my full-length releases on my many vids. Also Violette Blakk. And if you are looking for my Twitter, you just want to reverse it, and I am Black Violet.
See, there you go, people. So with that being said, life is a learning experience. With experience, you didn't learn anything. And you be hearing more from this sexy lady on the pod for sure. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
No doubt.